let's be honest, how do we make French feel real, vibrant, and, alive for our students? It's pretty much the biggest goal for any FSL teacher. Well, in today's explainer, we're going to break down 3 super powerful, research-backed strategies for using authentic resources to do exactly that.
I mean, of course you do. That's why you're here, right? Using authentic resources, we're talking songs, ads, even social media memes, can completely transform your classroom. It really makes the language jump off the page and connects it directly to your students' world.
And hey, this isn't just some classroom trend or a new fad. Right here in Canada, major professional groups like CASLT, that's the Canadian Association of Second Language Teachers, and ACPI are constantly talking about how valuable these resources are. They know this stuff works. So the big question is, how can you use them effectively, especially with beginners? Let's get into 3 strategies you can literally try tomorrow.
Okay, strategy number 1, start simple with visuals. So often we think authentic has to mean complicated, but really the best place to begin is with something simple and visual.
The whole process is actually super simple. First, just pick a cool visual, maybe an ad from a French magazine, a concert poster, or a meme that's going around. Then, just ask one single guiding question to get the ball rolling. Something like, what do you see? Or, what do you think they're selling here? So, why does a super simple approach work so well? Well, it's all grounded in the work of the legendary linguist Stephen Krashen. He famously said that we really acquire language when we have meaningful interactions where the main message gets understood. The goal isn't perfect grammar right away, it's all about comprehension. And that brings us to his core concept, the input hypothesis. Basically, we learn a new language when we're exposed to stuff we can mostly understand, but that also has language just a little bit beyond where we are right now. A simple visual is the perfect example of this comprehensible input. So what does this actually look like in your classroom? Imagine you show your students a French ad for cheese. You ask, what are they selling? A beginner might just say, Je vois du fromage. And that right there is a huge win. It's a successful, meaningful interaction. They understood the message from a real-world source. That's awesome.
All right, strategy number 2. This one builds on what we just talked about, but now we're using short clips. We're moving from a static image to the exciting world of sound and motion. And look, you don't need to show an entire movie here. The real key is keeping it short and manageable. Just play maybe 20 to 30 seconds of a French song or a video clip. Then, just like before, ask one simple, focused question. And you know what? The research totally backs this up. Canadian immersion studies show that using short, authentic clips is a massive motivator for students. And why is that? Well, because it makes the language feel current and exciting. And that is exactly why associations like CASLT are always encouraging teachers to bring this kind of media into their daily lessons. For example, after playing a little snippet of a song, you could ask, what's just one word you recognized? Even if a student only catches the word amour, that is a huge confidence booster. That simple act of recognition proves to them that they can understand authentic French. And that brings us to our 3rd and final strategy, which really takes things to the next level. We're going to turn these resources into actual tasks. This is where we shift from passive input to active output. The power here really comes from a 2-step process. First, you analyze an authentic resource together. Let's stick with that ad example. Then, you empower your students to become creators by having them design their own little ad in French. The whole idea behind this comes from another incredible researcher, Merrill Swain. Her work gave us this amazing insight. It's in the act of trying to produce the language that learners really figure out what they know, and, maybe more importantly, what they still need to learn. This is what's called the output hypothesis. It basically argues that producing language, speaking or writing, isn't just the end result of learning. It's actually a key part of the learning process itself. It forces our brains to organize, test out, and really solidify new knowledge. So you can kind of see how this would play out, right? On one side, you have the original professional French ad. And on the other, you might see a simple but totally effective ad that a student creates for their own favorite snack. They're taking what they learned from that real-world resource and applying it creatively. It's fantastic. Okay, let's do a quick recap. Think of these 3 strategies as the essential tools for your FSL toolkit. So remember our 3 core strategies. Number 1, start simple with visuals. Number 2, use engaging short clips. And number 3, turn all that great input into active, creative tasks for your students. And please remember, these aren't just fun little activities.
They are powerful, effective classroom strategies, and they're grounded in the foundational research of giants like Krashen and Swain. Plus, they're recognized as best practices by the leading FSL organizations right here in Canada. So, what's the big takeaway here? Using authentic resources is hands down one of the most powerful ways you can make French come alive in your classroom. And if you're ready for the next step, our next explainer is going to focus on concrete strategies for building oral interaction and fluency.
If you found these strategies useful, please do me a favor and give this explainer a like and maybe share it with a fellow FSL colleague. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. I'll leave you with this final thought. If an authentic resource can give your students a 1-minute trip to a Francophone country, which one will you show them tomorrow?